for organizing this rally. It's amazing. And the second thing I want to mention is there's one person who couldn't be here today, but I want to tell you, if he could, he sure as hell would, and that is MPP Saul Mamakwa, the deputy leader of the NDP in Ontario. Yeah, and I know many of you saw Saul standing with First Nations leaders, heading up the fight against Bill 5 alongside of us, and I gotta tell you, I have never been more proud of my friend. But I also want to tell you this, just like with me and everybody else here, Saul's fight does not end with the passing of that bill. Our fight is going to continue every single day until that legislation is repealed. So I don't think I need to tell you why we're here today. We know it. But just because my other colleagues have mentioned it already, I want to remind you what we're up against, right? We're up against legislation that was pushed through without proper consultation or hearings. And this is legislation that is going to create no law zones wherever the government wants to put them. And not only does that mean suspending all of those environmental assessments and protections, but it also means possibly suspending labor laws, right? I mean, all of us, every single Ontarian should be and will be concerned about this. And I wanted to add to that because just in case you thought it was over with Bill 5, the government hasn't stopped. Environment Minister Todd McCarthy sent a letter alongside his colleague, the Environment Minister in Alberta. You gotta know, like, those guys are gonna be friends. Anyways, they sent a letter together to the Minister of Environment at the federal level and Minister of Indigenous Affairs asking for them to stop and suspend any efforts to move forward with legislation both that protects our environment, but also, and they were very specific about this, legislation that would push forward clean drinking water for First Nations people in Canada. Because get this, because it, quote, undermines project development. It gets in the way of progress. Can you believe it? It gets in the way of progress. There are First Nations communities across Ontario that have had the longest boil water advisories of anywhere in Canada. In fact, we have more communities here that have boil water advisories than anywhere else. I know people in communities that haven't had clean drinking water for 30 plus years. Those are First Nations communities. And this government would put their version of development, their notion of progress ahead of the right of people to have a basic need met, a human right, which is clean drinking water. So shame on them. Shame on them. I wanted to mention to you as well what I'm doing. I've been around the province. I've already been out, like I'm getting a lot of feedback, eh? Do you hear that? Is it bad? Whatever, you can take it. All right, so last week, I was in Windsor, standing with worker people there and meeting with folks to talk about Bill 5. I was in London, meeting with working folks and talking about Bill 5. And I was in Dresden. I was in Dresden where the community of Dresden was singled out in the legislation that was brought forward in Bill 5 so that the government could push through a landfill in their community against their will. And I want you to know, it was just a few months ago, barely a year, when the government promised the people of Dresden in a by-election that they were not going to allow that landfill without proper environmental assessments, they said. And then they singled out the community of Dresden in that legislation. Why? It might have something to do with the fact that the company that owns that landfill, York One, has given lots of money to the Conservative Party over the last few months. Lots of money.